All right, so when we're adding decimals, we said that the number one takeaway was to line up the decimals. Right? Subtraction is going to be no different. Right? The only difference is we're going to be subtracting the numbers once we line them up. Okay, so same thing, our takeaway is still very important. All right, so let's use the same numbers. I have $2.25. All right, and I take away $1.30. All right, so again, first of all, we can also use estimation to kind of tell us if we're doing the right thing, all right, if we're putting the decimal in the right spot. So what I said is, let's see what this number is closest to, what whole number is 2.25 close to. Well, $2.25 is pretty close to $2, okay? If it was $2.50, all right, once I get to 50 cents, I would round up to the next dollar, okay, to the next whole number. So that would be $3. But anything below that, I would round down to $2. Okay, so $2.25 is $2, and I subtract $1.30, again, less than 50 cents, so it's just going to be $1, and $2 minus $1 is going to be $1. Okay, so our final answer should be around $1. If it's not, then we did something wrong. Okay, so logically it should make sense. So let me line up my $2.25, and let's line up the decimal. So the decimal needs to go here, the 1 goes right in front, and 30. And it makes sense too, right? Let's say I didn't have the 0 after. Let's say it was $1.3. Okay, there's always that imaginary 0. Whenever we don't have a number there, we can put and fill a 0 in. Okay, and that allows us to do our subtraction when we line them up. And so now let's split up all of our place values. So here we have our 100th spot. Here we have our 10th spot. Here we have our decimal. And then we have our ones. And these all make sense. They're in the right spot, so now we can start our subtraction. So let's go 5 minus 0 is going to be 5. Now 2 minus 3, though, that's going to be an issue. We can't actually subtract 2 minus 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn this 2, we're going to borrow 1 from its neighbor, all right? We're going to put that 1 right in front of the 2 to make 12, okay? Because now that number I can subtract from 3. But if we go to our neighbor and we borrowed that 1 to put in front of the 2, we have to take it away from this number. So 2, we take away 1, we're left with just 1 here, okay? And now let's go back. 12 minus 3 is going to give us 9. The decimals stay in the same spot, and 1 now minus 1 is going to be 0. And so I'm left with $0.95. Right? And that's how I'd be able to do my subtraction. And if we take a look at our estimate, we're pretty close to $1. All right, so it seems like we put our decimal in the right spot and we did this correctly. Okay, we could technically do a visual to show this. All right, but the main takeaway from this, all right, is that we line up our decimals. So if I did $2, let's say I have 2 loonies, and I'm going to line them up with 10 cents. 1 10 cents, 2 10 cents, and then a nickel for 5 cents. All right, and I need to take away $1.30. I'm going to cross out $1. All right, oops, and 30 cents. Okay, we don't have 30 cents here. We only have 25 cents. We'd have to borrow 5 cents from $1. Okay, and so we take that away. If we borrow 5 cents from $1, we're left with 95 cents. Okay, so visual gets a little bit more confusing when it's subtraction, right? But it's nice that we have a process that we can use now every single time, all right? And we're just able to get our final total from this. So one thing I want to make sure is today in class we did an activity where we had $1,000. Let's say I spent $225.70. All right, so now if I'm subtracting these, all right, first of all, I need to create a decimal in my top number. So let's put a decimal after that 1,000, right? And we know, okay, a decimal goes after the 1 spot, and then there's nothing in the 10th or the 100th spot. We can just put zeros there, Okay, that's going to make our life a little bit easier. So let's take a look. Let's split them up again. Okay, to make sure we actually subtract the correct number. So 0 minus 0 is 0. Great, that one worked out well. But now we go here, 0 minus 7, we can't do that. So we want to borrow that 1 to put in front. So this becomes a 1, and then the 0 carries here, so we get a 10. So we just put a 1 in front of the 0 to make 10. But we had to borrow it from a neighbor. So let's go to our neighbor next door. But the problem is, this neighbor here, that doesn't have anything to borrow. Neither does this neighbor. Neither does this neighbor. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this whole number here. We're going to take away 1 from 1,000. Well, what's 1? If we take away 1 from 1,000, we're left with 999. All right? So actually, our new number is 999 minus 225, okay? So now let's go through our process again. 10 minus 7 is 3. Great. Our decimals line up in the same spot. And 9 minus 5 is going to be 4. 9 minus 2 is going to be 7. 9 minus 2 is going to be 7. And then there's nothing here, right? There's nothing in this spot anymore. Just a 0. Okay, which we don't even have to put because it's at the beginning of the number. And so what we're left with is $774.30. So it's a little bit more complicated when we have all of these leading zeros. Okay, but we can just bunch them all together to create 1,000 or 100 or whatever and take 1 away from that number if we've got a bunch of zeros in a row. And that's just like a helpful trick for us when we're subtracting our decimals.